On Asheville's front porch. And what a beginning we had. Thank you, Mother.
And elder tree, Mother said. Oh, see how we go into the country. Look at the farm over there. Do you see the rooster, how he puts his pecks on the ground, showing off for the hens? Oh, how proud. And now we shall go to the chapel that sits on top of the hill under the shading oak tree. Oh, how lovely. And now we shall go off and explore the wide world and over the mountains to the sea. See the king and queen, how they sail about in their magnificent boat. And everything the girl said, the boy saw. Yet that they were only traveling round and round the yard. Then the two took branches and planted them in the ground like a garden. And the little girl took an elder blossom out of her hair and she planted it. And it grew. An elder bush, just like the old people had done when they were little. Then the girl whisked the boy up by the waist and flew him off into the country. And spring became summer, and autumn became winter. And everything that the boy saw reflected itself in his eyes and heart and memory.
Thank you so much.
And the little girl sat there and always sang, "You'll never forget this."
I traveled to Haiti with a church youth group. While there, a young man came up to me and said, "Will you marry me?" I was 15, looked like I was 12. I hadn't even started dating, but he was serious. Diane Wolkstein was there at about the same time, collecting stories. Well, the boy minded what she said, and so he stayed with her, and silver was lining her chest, for every morning there was more around him. One day, though, as he had grown older, he was feeling the need to be with others. He wanted to even maybe get married. And so when the witch wasn't looking, he jumped over the courtyard and started on his way. Well, as he traveled, he came by the king's castle. And there was the princess up on the balcony looking down. Many young men had come wanting her hand, but she had always said no. But when she saw this one, oh, she ran to her father and said, "I found him, Father. I want that one to be my husband." And so the father, the king, sent out the guards to find him and brought it back.
Orange tree, lower and lower and lower, orange tree. Stepmother is not real mother, orange tree. And that tree came down to within her height. And she began to gather those oranges. She gathered an armful and she took them home. Well, when she got to her house, her stepmother seized them from her and ate them all up. And then she demanded, "Where is that orange tree? Take me to it." Well, the girl did not want to tell her where it was. But the stepmother grabbed her by the arm and twisted it. "You take me there now." And so she did. She led the stepmother through the forest to where the magic orange tree grew by her mother's grave. But you'll remember that the girl is so when
Once there was a woman. She had 4 daughters. 3 she loved, 1 she did not love. Every day that woman would go to the market and she would get food and bring it home, her arms full, and she'd stand outside the house and sing, "One, my darling, come to mama. 2, my darling, come to mama. 3, my darling, come to mama." Stay, Philemondre, stay where you are. And the 3 girls would go running out laughing and bring the food into the house, put it on the table, and have a feast. And Philemondre got what was left. And you're thinking Cinderella. Much more. One day, when the mother came home and stood outside singing, "1, my darling, come to mama. 2, my darling, come to mama. 3, my darling, come to mama." Stay, Philemondre. Stay where you are. A demon was passing by. and he saw those 3 fat girls come running out of the house, and he licked his lips. The next day he came back, and when the mother went to market, he stood outside the house and he sang. 1, my darling, come to mama. 2, my darling, come to mama. 3, my darling, come to mama. Stay, Philemondre, stay where you are. And the girls inside laughed. Someone is imitating mother, and they didn't come out. And so that demon, he went to a plumber. He said, make my voice higher. So the plumber knew he was up to no good, but he was afraid of them. So he took the wrench, and the next day, when the mother went to market, the demon came and stood outside and sang. Oh, my darling, come to mama. 2, my darling, come to mama. 3, my darling, come to mama. Stay to the mother, stay where you are. And the girl and the bird outside imitating mother, and they did not come out. So that demon, he went back to the plumber. It's too high, bring it down! Or the plumber took the wrench and worked and worked and worked. And the next day, that demon came and he stood outside and he sang. 1, my darling, come to mama. 2, my darling, come to mama. 3, my darling, come to mama. Stay, Philemondre, stay where you are. And the 3 girls came running out. That demon took them away, and they were never seen again. When the mother came home, I know, you can sing the song too. She stood outside and she sang, 1, my darling, come to mama. 2, my darling, come to mama. 3, my darling, come to mama. Stay, Philemondre, stay where you are. But no one came. And she sang it again. 1, my darling, come to mama. 2, my darling, come to mama. 3, my darling, come to mama. Stay, Philemondre, stay where you are. And no one came. She went closer to the house and heard this. 1 cannot come, 2 cannot come, 3 cannot come. I am Philemondre, and I am where I am. And she went running in the house, and when she found her girls were gone, she went out the door, down the street, pulling her hair and weeping. Philemondre came out of the house. She went and got a job. Listen, she married a king of a man. One day, in the palace, a woman came and said, there is a woman, she's been in the neighborhood for quite a while. She looks quite mad. Her hair is torn, bird's nest in it. And she's dirty, and her clothes are torn. She thinks something about someone called Philemondre. And the queen went and looked out the window, and she saw her mother. She went running down the steps into the street. And she took her mother by the shoulders and said, 1 cannot come, 2 cannot come, 3 cannot come, but I am Philemondre, and I will take care of you, mother, for the rest of your days. And she did. It was at the National Festival, and Diane and I were both working there. There's another one here that knew Diane quite well, and she's Connie Reaganblake sitting right over there. Okay? And at that first time, Connie, if you remember, the office was across the street from the Christopher Taylor cabin. And I went up the dark stairs, and there was this brilliantly colored book in a chair, Magic Orange Tree. And Diane came in, and I said, oh, that's beautiful, beautiful. She said, you know, I went to Haiti for vacation with my husband, Benny, and my daughter, Rachel. And I asked, like all storytellers do, any storytellers? And I was inundated. So I sent them back to New York, and I stayed and recorded stories. And Diane, right. Special effects. And so this book is remarkable. The gift that she gave us. I recommend that you go to the library, get it out. It's full of wonderful stories about us, about people, and about our lives, how we live them. Diane and I met because of the story Nightingale. I was telling stories at PAC Library, and I had gone to Raleigh on a conference and told the Nightingale. Not long after that, someone handed me a newspaper. In it said, Diane Wolkstein, young woman, is telling stories at Hans Christian Andersen in the park, in Central Park. And I don't know, maybe 2 days, the phone rang, I picked it up, and a voice said, this is Diane Wolkstein. Do you tell the Nightingale? I almost dropped the phone. She was in town with a friend, Joan Bodger. So I was going to tell stories down at the Y. And I said, come along. So Diane told first. It was a rowdy bunch of kids. Not like you, my friend, sitting there quiet. And, but Diane told an African story about Thaddeus the Ball. And then Joan told Golden Arm, scared the heck out of him. And then it was my turn, and by then the kids were throwing popcorn. I couldn't tell Nightingale, not there. But I went to New York. Diane came to my house. She sent me books that she wrote, the bookcase filled up with them. And she kept going and going, and she would have loved today, right? Right. Oh, that Chinese dragon. One, my darling, was the last story she told. She told it in Taiwan. And with cello accompaniment. And afterwards, someone said, your mother is downstairs. Well, of course, her mother was back in New York. There was a mystical quality about Diane. And I think that's why the Nightingale, which I'm going to tell you now, was her favorite.